Come on in. On this design, we are using this really fun spray. It is really compact. It's got a lot of greenery. So the nice thing is when you buy a little higher quality spray like this that has a lot of greenery in there, you're set up for success because you're not going to need to add a lot to the design. So the way to work with this spray is we just take and separate it into pieces. So I'm going to kind of do that here. And you can do this with any spray you get as long as it's not just molded in plastic. If it's what they call hand wrapped, it's finished with tape, like a paper-based tape on the outside. So generally you can tear that, which is really good for your hands. Over the years, this is my 27th year in business. So over the years, overcutting can really take a toll on your hands. So if you can take and tear things, it really makes a big difference. And those of you who know I have RA, I really have to really respect my joints and things in my hands as well as other parts of my body. But I've got to make sure I'm taking these little tips that are ergonomically safe into play when I'm creating a bunch. So you can see how easy that broke down. Really super easy to do that with these sprays. So I'm going to do that on all of them. And that way we can kind of have them ready for this wreath. So on this one, it comes, this is the base, everything was on. So if you'll just take and trim that to a couple of inches, all of a sudden, all the picks will be the same size and you're set to go. So I'm gonna prep all three of these. And while I'm doing that, I wanted to tell you a little bit of a story about my daughter. My daughter last year during volleyball season, her back was really hurting her and we didn't know really what was going on. And at first we just kind of tried to treat it at home and kind of lay off, take a little bit of a break from sports and just kind of see what all was, you know, happening. And it turned out, we found out she actually has a pretty common birth defect in her back that causes you to get an easy fracture. And hers was at L4 in her spine. So, and the fracture occurs like on the outside of the spine. So it's not like she's going to have a, you know, spinal cord injury from that. It's kind of on these little pieces of the bone that come out. So it wasn't like she was going to be paralyzed, but the thing that happened is her favorite sports, her favorite season, her favorite time of the year when she participates was really, she was going to miss so much. And we were getting to, she had just gotten on another volleyball club and we were getting to know everybody. So quickly, we had to teach her a hard lesson that just because you can't participate and be there doesn't mean that you don't show up and show your commitment to the team. So sure enough, that's what we did. You guys, I'm just prepping these and I'm trimming down the ends. When they get all rough like this, we've got to trim them down. So that's what we did. So we didn't miss a game. We didn't miss a practice. Not just her, but the whole family committed to going to everything. There were tournaments, we were there. There were other players she wanted to go see, we went and did it. So we made a commitment to following through the commitment we had made, even though situations had changed. And the fun part of this whole process was gone. So that always reminds me that in business and in life, that sometimes you've got to make a commitment when times are good or times are bad, that you stick through with your commitment, because that is what sees you through to the other side of things. Sure enough, her back got healed. She got released. She got to go back into the season, moved right in. She didn't really miss a step because guess what? She knew the plays they were running. She knew the offense they were doing or the defense or where she was supposed to be in the system. So even when it feels like life's kind of got you down and you're out of the flow and the training that you were doing, the hands-on work, how it was going so smoothly, and there are these bumps in the road, just know, just like my daughter had to go through the not fun time to get to the other side, it's all going to be worth it when you stick with your commitment and follow through. It always will be. So keep that in mind and try to persevere when these things are happening. It can be hard, but I know you can do it. All right, after you get all your pieces prepped, you're going to have about 12 pieces of this. This is what we're going to create our whole base out of. It's kind of the structure for this design. So what you're going to need to do is take and we're going to shake hands with each section. That's a design school term. And basically it means you want to maximize these pieces. When you're buying things from Calise.com, I like to pick out pieces that are really highly wired. It gives you depth and dimension. Depth and dimension always means more money for your work if you're a seller, a high quality piece, and more like a higher perceived value. So keep that in mind. Now I'm going to start to structure out my design. Instead of greening my base, which we would normally do, we're using these as our greenery. Now some of them have flowers. So I want you to go through and separate the ones with the flowers, because we really got to think about where they're going. They're not going to be part necessarily of our background layer of the greening process. They're going to be more, we need those kind of a little bit more to the foreground because they have the fun sunflower. But you see, before I open this up, it's not so exciting. It's just, it's flat and it's not, the leaves aren't all going forward. Please, please. Pet peeve number 1, please make sure your leaves are facing forward and you have controlled your twigs. You don't have to curl them, but please make sure you've got them. I'm going to curl them, but don't just have them going wonky. Get control of your pieces before you put them in your design. So it'll really make them go, it just makes the value of your work so much better. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. So these are going to work as our background picks in the piece. So let's get started. I'm going to put my first one up high up here and kind of start to shape out my base. Now when you shape out your base, you decide, so when you put these pieces in, you're starting to shape out your base, alrighty? And that's the fun part, because you kind of, your project starts to come to life. And these want to be our perimeter. So that means like our outside layer. So I'm going to curl up my little twiggies, because those are fun. Give them a swirl in the glue, and we're going to start to place them in. I've got that one at the top. Now I'm going to come down a little bit here. And we want some space in between these, because remember, we've got all the other ones that need to go in with the flowers. So we're going to kind of work on the outside of the design. But make sure you are shaking hands, making these look beautiful. I always like to take also and make sure the flowers are kind of looking more at you, not just up. Have them kind of look at you from the door when it's on somebody's doorway. We don't want it to be like just, oh, okay, hi, you know. Now this wreath we're going to make is going to kick up a little bit on this side. Now anytime I put a piece in, if I see glue, glue's going to show sometimes. We want to cover that with some Spanish moss. Okay, that one's in, and I like that we're going to kick it up a little here. Now I'm going to have this one kind of come down and cascade off the wreath, kind of come down off the bottom. I can move it up a little bit. There we go. So lines, shape, and depth is all things we talk about in design school. And we're kind of getting a little sneak peek of that here. We're creating a little bit of a line. We're bringing this drama. Am I the problem? Am I the drama? Yes, always. We want to bring the drama. All right, let's bring our next one in. If you've got any extra like paper on that, just pull it off. I'm going to push this one in a little bit higher. And if the stem starts to separate like that, sometimes you have, there we go. Just got to back it up a little bit. I'm going to bring this twig here. But you can see why we don't really need another greenery in this one, because this spray is loaded with greenery. So that really kind of saves you money when you're actually putting these together. Shape it up. I got to shake hands and make it happy. You know, when my daughter was going through that whole situation with her back, I was just so proud of her resilience and her desire to get back out on the court that I knew it was a great learning moment. And she has such high standards, which, you know, I know I try not to be too hard on her, but I know she gets it from it's just kind of how Richard and I are. Like, if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. If you're going to be committed to something, you're committed. It doesn't mean you have to keep doing it forever, But when you commit, you are committed. Okay, you see how we laid out our perimeter really nice? I like that. And so this is all in just really good spaced out, and we kept everything out of the middle because we've got these pieces that are going to come in with the flowers in a little bit. So hold those off for a second. I'm going to go ahead and put our drama piece in next. Now we are going to make this with what we call a bow zone. It means we need to leave a space for the bow. And this time we're going to work more to the inside. So this will be our bow zone right in here. So we don't need anything really coming out of there, but we need to add the drama of our little balls. I love these ball sprays. Now, if I cut them super long, they're going to be very dramatic. And I love that. So we're going to just cut them right below their last little leaf on here. And I'm going to do that with the whole bush as we prep it. And just cut. Put that one, the base, in the trash. But once I've done that, I've got all these great balls. And I want them to work out kind of between the picks we've already put in. So let's get started with that. Now, once again, shaking hands. Like, these are so dramatic. You want to use these where they give you that natural feel, like you're out in the garden. So I'm going to bring this one in, just reinforcing kind of the lines we already created. Put you in. You're so pretty. Oh, let's put another. And this is where your work's going to stand apart, guys. You don't want it flat. You don't want it basic. Like, we want to command a higher dollar for our work. We want to attract a different clientele. We're not here to fight for the volume. You don't want to be making wreaths nonstop. And not be able to have the beautiful creative process, enjoy that part of it, where you're really putting a piece of art together. And that's how I like to stand apart from other wreath makers, is just be really into the flowers I'm working with and the creative process that's behind what I'm doing, because it's mentally just so freeing. And in design school, I teach you basically the strategies and the math behind what we're doing and why we're putting things where they're going. So that way you can become even better at this on your own. And you might hear me in your head talking to you. And then I hear design school says, all the time they'll say, I hear Khalid telling me to do this. And then they know, okay, that's how I should do it. That is such a wonderful compliment. Because it's not a bad Kali in your head. It's a good Kali helping you create just gorgeous pieces. So we do use something like this that really reaches out in the design. And remember, if you need the supply list for this project, whenever we film new videos, all the supplies are in stock. They are always limited how much we've got to complete the project. But you can head over to the supply list, just click on it, and it will take you to exactly what you can click in order to create this design. And you won't feel like, where do you get that and how do I find it? It's just so easy. You click, you order off our site, we mail it right to you. You can come back to the supply list later. There's the link to the video. You don't have to hunt on social media. So we really do all the work for you so you can just enjoy your creative passion. You really can. All right, do you see all this dimension? That's so fun. That is the funnest part of this all. I love that. Now we're going to come back in with our pieces that have the flowers on them. So these are going to work more towards the center now because they've got that main floral. So we've already trimmed them up. They're looking good. And I'm going to start to place these kind of in between where our others went. And make sure you show these great berry. They have a great berry on them. This is kind of a really good spray because it's just loaded with all the good stuff. I'm going to glue this sunflower back on. Sometimes you could just push them back on, but I'm afraid it'll keep popping off. And because I'm going to sell my pieces, of course I hoard a lot of them and need to decorate with them too, but eventually they will get sold. And then so I want to make sure my construction is top notch, like gonna hold up well, and my customers are happy and they know when they invest in a piece for me, it's gonna last, you know, at least a few seasons. sometimes the weather can wear things out, of course, in the sun, but we wanted to put out there really lovely, high quality work that, you know, once they get a wreath from you, they don't really want to go get one anywhere else because they know it's not like anything they're going to get at a store, for sure. All right, let's come down now into this section. We're doing great. Just remember, leave a little area for the bow. And the bow, we actually tied it on another video. You can grab the link to that video in the supply list also, or just ask for it right here and we'll give you it in the comments. So you can see how to make the bow if you're not familiar with how to make the bows we do. I kind of have my special techniques and my special tweak when I'm creating bows. So you'll see how I do maybe a little bit different than a lot of people do. I'm going to put this one more to the center and kind of move it out a little bit to come in the middle. Oh gosh. So it's really looking pretty. Now, if you're not a bow fan, just tighten this up right here in the middle and you're good to go. But now I need to pop my bow in. So here comes my bow. Look how beautiful she is. Ah, oh, I love this bow. This bow's going to sit in here and you can choose the direction. This one we're going to kind of angle with the flow of the flowers, but it can be just as beautiful, just straight, or it can go cockeyed more this way. It is so fun to play with angles in your designs. I told you there's some math involved. You don't have to mix many numbers not too many in design school, but the way our brain looks and thinks, looks at everything is mathematically. You may not notice it or feel it, but that's the way our eyes and our brain process things. So the cool part of that is when you have something really well designed, not only with the colors, which we teach in design school, the shapes, the directions, the lines, man, pretty soon you're into it, you love it, your brain loves it because it's so pretty. Then what happens is you start to really, really enjoy the process, and it becomes just this lovely stress relief and this creative habit that you start to really love. And it is such a, you know, such a fun passion that you just can't wait to get in your craft room. Pretty soon you're calling it your happy place and you just can't wait to get in there. That's what's going to happen for you. Now look at this. We've got a few more pieces to put in there, but oh my gosh. We could stop right now if we wanted, but of course, I've got a few more things up my sleeve. Now, what I want you to do is grab your last ball spray that you have here, and we're going to kind of have that come out of the top of the bow a little. So definitely shake hands with this a little, and we want to maximize that coming out. And I always like for there to be some like a little surprise near the bow too, because it just breaks the plane of all of the ribbons. So we have this gorgeous spray of greenery too that we're going to add in. And I'm going to take some of the longer hangers first. And I like to kind of build up the bow area with those. So I'm going to take and cut a couple of these off. And I'll make that cut here where it doesn't even look like you cut it. So it's very fluid. And then we'll use some of these standing up and hanging down. So besides that main pick that we put in with the florals, this is the only other greenery we're adding. Pretty much just adding this for the drama, because I love the drama. Now let me show you. I'm going to move this way up on the bow, the wreath board, and we're going to have this come out of the bow because I love that. And it's going to trail down with those tails. It's a little bit brighter greenery, so it should pop really nice. I loaded that with glue, and we're going to bring that in, and that's going to flow down. Oh, you see the drama? Oh, yes. Gorgeous. From the curb hanging on somebody's door, that drama is so worth it every time. And this is just going to come out of the bow area. I'm going to put one more in. So even if you're an established wreath maker, take this tip, use it, because you want to have this same beautiful drama. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, let me go up to the top. Now, you saved a couple of pieces that would stand up from that bush, and we're going to use those up here. One right behind where we just put those balls, and then one right over here to the left of the balls. So the reason we're doing that, a little tip, is because it looks like it's growing out of the same section. So the eye's very pleased with that. It looks very natural, organic, and it's a little bit of a clumping part. We didn't clump this whole design or group this whole design or cluster this whole design. We just use it in around the bow. So that makes that really, really fun. We have some of these cute allium that are in purple, and we're going to use this in here just to add just a little bit of drama of purple with all the other balls that are coming out. And I'm just going to use these in one section. Literally, we're going to come up above here and let these come right above the bow. It's just one of my favorite things to do. So move these forward. They have a nice, really chunky, heavy head. So cut this a little shorter. Not too short though, because I want to be able to go into the wreath a little bit. When you have a stem that has a little weight to it, got to go a little bit deeper into the wreath to hold it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm loading it with a good amount of glue, and then we're going to go in right here. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Y'all, this wreath you can use spring, all summer. It's a great spring to summer wreath because of that yellow, and we've got a mix of purples in here. We've got lighter, we've got darker, and then I've just got one piece left. And with that, I will probably take a look at it from different angles and just see if there's any little holes I need to cover. And we did it. Oh, you see them? Do you see them? Oh, can you imagine when the wind blows and this is hanging on your door? It's going to be stunning, stunning. All right, Blue Merinos, I can't wait for you to make something just like this. I know you can do it, and I love showing you how. All right, I will see you on the inside.